Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
It's been a minute or two, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
long time no speak.
It's been 2 weeks, so welcome into Topic Thunder. Let me remind everybody, my name is Brooks, that handsome man in the jersey is Ben, and we host a podcast called Topic Thunder, in which we host the world's most dangerous chat zone, and that's called the Thunderdome. And nobody's ever called anything like that the Thunderdome before. That's particularly our
very original. Very original, like our upcoming segment called Headlines.
Right, and
we're all about originality around here.
Right, we've even tossed around the most original idea, like nobody steal this, but Mailbag Monday. We've also considered. But welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, as Ben and I consider ourselves info tenders. And if you're in the world's most dangerous chat zone, well, you walked through the double doors of the Internet Saloon and bellied up to the bar for some conversation, which again has been missing for about 2 weeks. Sorry. If I have to personally explain, the first week, the NBA literally consumed my Wednesday.
Yes.
It was about a 15-hour day, and
you got up close and personal with every NBA prospect going through the combine, eh?
A handful. It is a very interesting process. The organization I work for does the physical examinations of NBA prospects, and every year the NBA comes through Chicago and does the combine here. It's a fantastic located event because it's at McCormick Place, which is right connected to literally walkways through Wintrust Arena, which the Chicago Sky play at.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's a basketball court right there. There's hotels right there. A lot of convention space for medical tents and testing.
That's probably why it's there, because it's ideally set up for exactly what they need. Yeah.
And if you're on the level of the Secret Service as far as security goes, you're keeping all of these young men who are about to sign very expensive and lucrative deals and all of the fanfaring, shall I say, accoutrement that
Right.
comes with that fame and fortune.
That's one way to put it, yes.
That is just know that everybody knows that the NBA was in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and that includes all of the temptations of a professional sports player. So yes, a long way of saying that was the reason we missed the first show, the last show last week, because I was horribly ill,
which almost never happens. Like you definitely have avoided COVID for 3 years now, despite working in a hospital and coming in direct contact with it multiple times. You are an amazingly healthy individual for the line of work and the amount of time that you spend around sickly people. And so it was surprising when I got that message last Wednesday where you were like, I'm nearly dying, I have to call out.
I don't call off work because I'm sick. I'll call off for mental health days, right?
Sure.
I think that's different. But like physically ill, we're like, look, walking to the bathroom wins me. Like, and I cough up like half a liter of green stuff along the way.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was last week. So,
you know what? I needed a little bit of a
Listen.
break. I'm back. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. And usually when we take a couple of weeks off, we've got a lot to talk about. And looking at the setup of the stories that you sent to me in prep, we do have quite a bit to talk about. We got to cover a lot of ground in the next hour and 20-ish, 30-ish minutes or so.
Don't tell them that much. It's an hour, folks. It's the
We haven't done an hour. We haven't done an hour in 50 some episodes. Where are we at now?
This is episode 156.
156. I can promise you we have done 155 of them in over 1 hour. All of them. There's not a single one that's been an hour long.
To steal a phrase from a fellow Illinoisan, Jimmy Pardo, this is the fastest hour in podcast.
Correct, because you look up and it's an hour in, and then all of a sudden we hit you with the lightning round. We're closing it up, and by an hour 20, we're downstairs eating dinner, and you're in the other room eating dinner. So
that's
the plan. That's right. So without further ado,
let's take it out from USS Rapapa. Without libation would be a crime. So. Want to share with you guys a little beverage that I bought for myself for my birthday. I've made very well known my love for the Isla Scotch whiskey.
Yes, you do.
I get that smoky, peaty. Like again, not my phrase, but the best description I've ever heard of an Isla is like kissing a mermaid that just had barbecue. And it's like a fourth or fifth time I've said it on the show, so it's not mine. I don't remember where I read it, but it is the absolute truth when it comes to drinking an Isla Scotch whiskey. And this one is no exception. Went a little overboard on the budget to afford it, but it's worth every single sip. So I got myself. That's not all whiskey there. I like to mix mine with a little bit of water, a little bit of cold water.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm in that camp that like some people like what they call neat, which is just straight up. But this is some pretty strong stuff, and I'd like to get to that hour and 28-minute without having to like get an epinephrine injection or some shit like that.
Well, I'll tell you this: our crowd loves when you're by the middle of the show or so. The words start slurring a little bit. You mispronounce a few words here and there. I think it's the charm of the second half of Topic Thunder every episode.
That might happen just based on the amount of Dayquil that I've been on over the last.
Yeah, buddy.
Sure, I've been popping them like candy, like Flintstones vitamins. So, here's to you. Here's to everyone. Cheers. It's been a while.
Key lime of sparkling water. Let's do it.
I tell you, it's the nectar of the gods. You wouldn't believe me, and that's why I don't get sick. Actually,
correct.
Ben,
Yes.
If I have to let you know, and Gigi, who's the world's most dangerous chat solo, Biz, and Bobby Suzuki, at Chris, who's recovering from knee surgery. I hope you're feeling.
Yes.
Everything's going well over there. And Ryan Hansen. I know you won't believe me when I say that this is the nectar of the gods. And I forgot where I was going with this. It's already that kind of show. Yep. I told you the Dayquil, is
the Dayquil, right? This is going to be a fun episode. I'm buckle up, folks.
Yes. Hi. Are we doing headlines?
Yes.
Let's do headlines. Hey, Joe's in the chat room too. Welcome back, Joe. I'm not hearing the music.
We're done.
Oh, shit. Well, hey, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. I am completely unprepared for this, so give me 1 second.
Well, we've been talking about AI quite a bit over the last few weeks, and over the last few weeks, there's been quite a few interesting stories revolving around AI. And this is one that I actually sent you. I'll admit, this is one that I sent you when I saw this story, because this screams, a topic for us. I'll turn it back over to you to kind of go over the details here.
Just in the last week, Scarlett Johansson basically started a legal war against OpenAI because they basically mimicked her voice for their new AI chatbot. This is from our yes, the star of Her. Exactly, it's fiction.
Okay, so yeah,
reality, right?
Yeah, there's a reason. It's not a coincidence that she was the star of Her, and they're trying to use her voice for this. And I think that's the story is probably going to get into that here in a second.
And let's just be honest.
There's a reason.
Like, yes. So, from our friends at The Guardian, when OpenAI's new voice assistant said it was doing fantastic in a launch demo this month, Scarlett Johansson was not. The Hollywood star said she was shocked, angered, and in disbelief that the updated version of ChatGPT, which can listen to spoken prompts and respond verbally, had a voice eerily similar to hers. One of Johansson's signature roles as voice of a futuristic version of Siri in the 2013 film Her. And for the actor, the similarity was stark. The OpenAI chief executive, Sam Altman, who we've covered before because he was the guy who was on the board and ousted previously.
Right. Yep.
And then brought back.
Correct.
Weird because he went to Google. He got literally hired by Google like that.
Correct. We talked about it. I thought you sniffed a little something weird going on there with Sam Altman.
Sam Altman's not a good dude.
Yeah.
Sam Altman's not a good dude. As we go back to the story, in a statement, Johansson said Altman had approached her last year to be the voice of ChatGPT, and that she declined for personal reasons. Do you have to give a reason to decline a job?
No, but
OpenAI approached an extra voice for ChatGPT after 5 had already been chosen, including the voice that had alarmed Johansson. She was approached again days before the May 13th launch. Days before the launch. About becoming a future additional voice, which screams, we've already done it.
We're just hoping you'll give us the okay.
Retroactively give us the okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's an important distinction there. Not the okay to do it.
Correct.
The okay that you've already done it, even though I've already said no thank you.
Right.
OpenAI wrote that AI voices should, quote, not deliberately mimic a celebrity's distinctive voice, end quote. And that the voice in question used by the new ChatGPT 4.0 model, Sky, which if you like the Terminator movies, should alarm you too.
Right.
Hi, Dad. Sky was not an imitation of Scarlett Johansson, but, quote, belongs to a different professional actress using her own natural speaking voice, end quote. The relationship between AI and creative industries is already strained, with authors, artists, and musical publishers bringing lawsuits over copyright infringement. But for some campaigners, the furor is emblematic of tensions between a wider society and a technology whose advances could leave politicians, regulators, and industries trailing in its wake. We've already seen that too. Like the horse is kind of out of the barn, right?
Yeah.
To coin a phrase, like
it's out there. They're making new Drake songs, without his consent, without him actually
using songs without people's consent.
Yeah, right. So
it is. I know the phrase gets kind of tossed out there a lot, but this is the kind of the new West. It's an unexplored frontier where there kind of are no rules. Whatever you go into it morally is how your actions kind of play out. From what I'm guessing here.
Yeah. Before we move on, there is something funny that kind of did come out of this story. I will admit, I've started watching Saturday Night Live a little bit more lately, and I particularly like Weekend Update. Oh, Colin Jost and Michael Shea are fantastic, right? And a bit that they do that is just absolute gold is the joke swap.
The swap is the best.
It's the greatest idea in the history
ever.
of Weekend Update, history of news, television, and anything.
Comedy,
comedy,
like
yes.
television comedy, like is situated like that sort of skit comedy, the best.
Yes. So, if you haven't seen it, so immediately, like literally a day after the story breaks, Saturday night, the story broke on a Friday. I'm almost sure Thursday or Friday,
Sure.
and Saturday Night Live, they do a joke swap, and I've got to play it because it is a really, really good joke. So check this out.
Oh God.
He knows he's in trouble.
GPT has released a new voice assistant feature inspired by Scarlett Johansson's AI character in Her, which I've never bothered to watch because without that body, what's the point of listening?
You got a little more there.
So Rabbi Jill, if you're here, who's controlling the weather?
I don't even get that joke.
Oh
If
man,
you're not
so
familiar with the bit, they secretly write a joke for one another,
Yes.
and like only the writers know. Allegedly, only the writers really know like who's getting what, right? But obviously, it's targeted humor. There's been some stuff that Jost has written for Shay that. Like,
they are brutal with each other. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Shay got him on that one, but Jost gives it to Shay just as good as he gets it.
Just imagine being a talented, creative comedy writer, and you get to slip in a joke, a roast type joke about your best friend during your
right, and his famous
segment.
wife, right? Like his famous wife finally makes the news, and you're like, "Oh shit, I've been waiting for this." Yeah,
right. He's written. So keep it in the AI theme because, and that's certainly not the end of the Scarlett Johansson thing. Because fortunately, she has the resources to kind of pursue these legal avenues, and I'm sure we're not. That's not the end of it. But Ben, I came across this story.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This gets a little nuts. And of course, we have to caution everybody that this is the Sun, the U.S. version of the Sun, which is a famous English tabloid. Think the Inquirer.
Right, and this is also about China, and we know that anything that gets out of China is heavily edited to be only in favor of whatever they got going on. So yeah, you got to take this with a very small grain of salt, so to speak.
Yeah, but also understand that there is a grain of truth,
right,
in some of this, right? Like this story didn't come out of nowhere because while it almost sounds made up, I will absolutely guarantee it's not.
Right.
This is from inside China's AI hospital.
That's crazy.
A RoboDoc, world's first AI hospital unveiled in China with robot doctors who can treat 3,000 patients a day and will save millions. They don't say whether that's millions of lives or dollars. The world's first AI hospital where robot doctors.
These pictures are frightening.
Right? It's that Will Smith movie. I think it was probably Artificial Intelligence. I'm not sure.
Right.
This is dubbed Agent Hospital, the virtual facility that will have the potential to save millions through its autonomous interactions. The AI hospital could see robots treating humans. AI was able to simulate the entire process of diagnosing and treating patients during testing. Developed by researchers in Tsinghua University in Beijing, the AI hospital is so advanced that it already aims to be operational by the end of the second half of 2024.
Wow.
6 months of research and development means the hospital is nearing readiness for practical application, where it is set to transform the way doctors diagnose and treat patients. Research team leader from Agent Hospital, Liu Yang, said the AI hospital will bring immense benefits to both medical professionals and the general public, the Global Times reports. Thanks to a simulated environment and its ability to autonomously evolve, AI doctors will be able to treat 10,000 patients within a matter of days. And to put that into perspective, it would take 2 years for humans to achieve the same numbers. Tests conducted by the Chinese researchers have already shown AI doctor agents achieve an impressive 93.06% accuracy rate on the MedAQA data set, which is the U.S. Medical Licensing Exam questionnaire. So their boards, they score 98.
Wow.
Or 93. Sorry.
So, okay. I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Would you go to an AI hospital knowing like you work in a similar facility with humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you trust an AI? I mean, you just heard the accuracy with which they're diagnosing. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question for myself, but I'm curious your answer.
There should be a blend. You should never remove the human element to healthcare or anything. To be honest with you, I don't care if it's engineering or stone cutting. You should never remove the human element from any of those things. Technology is there as a tool for us. It is there to serve us, not the other way around. And if it was a situation, I often on the show refer back to like Star Trek as like the ideal, like they went through some shit. They went through World Wars 3 and 4, and then met the Vulcans and things took off, right? Now they got starships,
right?
If technology can be used by the correct professionals in the correct way, in the correct manner, it is an absolute boon to humanity.
So this is good for health care if it's not a 100% robot AI deal. I think a blending is possibly a good thing. I mean, if it's helping diagnose and can notice things that a human may not initially or may not have the time or the capacity to, that you could put information into a computer and an AI could look at it from all different angles, so to speak, and make sure that that it covers all the bases. I can only see that as a positive for the human race in the sense. We talk about the doom and gloom of AI. This seems like a positive to me.
Sure. And it's already happening. I already work in a facility that has AI attached to our imaging equipment.
Gotcha.
And let's just say on a simple chest X-ray, the AI has been programmed to recognize what we call a pneumothorax, which is basically an airless. Your lungs are basically a series of small balloons that have formed a larger balloon.
Gotcha.
And when some of those balloons pop, there is a vacuous space in your chest. They can be very small to detect until they get big, and then when they get big, they can literally cause cardiac arrest and kill somebody.
Sounds bad, yeah.
Absolutely. AI has been shown to absolutely out-diagnose human eyes in those situations because
interesting.
In a chest X-ray, right?
Right.
All that is a two-dimensional picture. Not gonna lie, I'm not downplaying my profession,
right?
But it is a two-dimensional. It's like a selfie, right?
Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. However, the speed and accuracy that an algorithm could detect a pattern, which is honestly all a radiologist's eyes are trained to detect, are patterns. This disease process looks like this on a CT. This disease looks like this on a chest X-ray. They're trained to look at patterns, and that's what they do in school. They over looking at images and right. So that's what AI has done.
Yeah.
We fed it images, thousands and tens of hundreds of thousands of images of this is what a disease process looks like in the kidney,
right?
In all of these scans. Not only is that AI going to detect things that human eye didn't, it's going to do so faster. So in a critical situation, you want that technology to help that diagnosis, because that diagnosis could mean somebody going to the OR for life-saving surgery, or like being admitted and treated, non-operatively, medications, whatever treatment, right? So that's a big deal, but it can't be the soul. Like you still need.
You're walking in and being served, being treated by robots. Yeah, that I think that's a level that's just too much. Yeah,
If the robot's coming in and bringing you food, bringing your tray of a lunch, I'm
Right.
good with that.
right. Beyond that, no.
You still need human nurses. You still need human doctors. You still need human X-ray because you're dealing with humans.
Right.
And there's always going to be a variety that of situation that challenges the AI and challenges the algorithm. And I don't know if we want to deal with that particular type of outcome in
Right.
the healthcare setting.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
So I'm for it, but I'm of course don't trust the Chinese one bit.
Definitely not. If you're gonna trust anyone, don't trust the Chinese one. Yeah.
And we also have to again buffer the conversation by saying this is from the U.S. Sun,
Right.
So just
right.
Put
It's
all
a fun
that-
conversation starter, if nothing else, just to have that conversation about AI integrating with. I think a lot of people. I was pretty ignorant to it till you just told me the level that it's already being used. I wasn't quite aware of that, and so that's I thought it was a cool conversation starter, even if it isn't 100% accurate or something fishy about it.
How about this? How about we use AI to figure out traffic patterns and align traffic light use to
Surely we could figure that out. Yeah.
look, there are things that this piece of technology can do, but of course, like anything, 78% of what we think of and what we create gets used for military purposes or killing people or restraining.
Right.
All of this sounds great, and we can have these conversations about these stories and reflect upon them in almost like a vacuum, right? But the ultimate thing is we kind of have to fix ourselves first.
True.
In order for these things to really be the thing, so I can go see the rings of Saturn up close and a starship on a
Right.
right? Which is a goal. Thank you.
Right.
We might not get there because I don't know. We seem to here in America, we don't mind the concentration of money and power, and as long
We're
as
gonna
it
skip this
serves
Google
us-
story. I mean.
Oh no, this is
It's
absolutely part of it.
part of it. Got it. Okay.
Because if you told me that your search engine of choice was Bing, I might slap you.
Yeah, there is something a little bit off by someone who uses Bing as their
Why
search
don't you
engine.
use Google?
Yeah.
Everybody uses Google.
Right.
It almost sounds like a Seinfeld episode. Everybody uses Google. Why don't you use Google? Everybody uses Google. Why don't you use Google?
Right. Even worse if you use DuckDuckGo. That's how you
That-
know you're really down the rabbit hole.
To me, if you use DuckDuckGo, I know you have like more than one AR-15 with the serial numbers like rubbed out.
Correct. Yes. And you definitely are afraid of the government. 100%.
You are afraid of the government, even if they have drones and laser-guided missiles that will end your existence.
Right.
well
And you have
before
and you
even
have a
chance.
phone that records everything and a television that records everything that you do. Just stop. Like,
That
stop being
libertarian
paranoid.
mindset of like
Correct.
like the best description of the libertarian mindset I've ever heard is like they're like cats. They want to feign this fierce independence and rage against the
Yes.
system they are intrinsically attached to and cannot survive without.
Yes.
Independent just tell that to your libertarian friends. You're like
Yeah.
a cat.
Yes.
And go let them
Until
go.
they need something, but cats always eventually need something from me.
They
from-
need
from
something.
you.
They can be
Hey,
like,
food,
"Arr,"
water.
But you got to feed me, right? Where's my
Right.
water? I got some catnip. Do I get one of
Yes.
those fancy like carpet trees?
And
But-
very similarly, cats want a relationship with others on their terms only. Right. And libertarians are very similar.
Same.
They want interactions with the rest of humanity on their terms only. They don't give a shit about your terms. They don't give a shit about how you see things.
Nope.
This is their world. You're just living in it, and you have to deal with their.
Yeah. If it doesn't make sense to you, too bad.
Sorry, I'm a fucking cat. You're gonna
Right.
pet me or not,
This is
motherfucker.
how it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
So-
pee in that box now.
Yeah, right. And you're gonna clean it up.
Right.
Again, our fascination and allowance with like the concentration of power. You don't have to go too far. You actually do have to go far into U.S. history to see how Teddy Roosevelt busted up all these monopolies, and we're kind of seeing something like that happen now with a massive leak of Google information about their algorithm. This is a article from The Verge. Google's search algorithm is perhaps the most consequential system on the internet, directing what sites live and die and what content on the web looks like. But how exactly Google ranks websites has long been a mystery, pierced together by journalists, researchers, and people working in search engine optimization. Now, an explosive leak that purports to show thousands of pages of internal documents appears to offer an unprecedented look under the hood of how Google search works, and suggests that Google hasn't been entirely truthful about it for years.
Surprise, surprise.
So far, Google hasn't responded to multiple requests for comment on the
Also a
legitimacy
shocker.
of the documents.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. In good journalism, you get a lead, you research the hell out of it, you track down every possible source that might be involved in that lead. You get as much confirmation as you can in your work to feel confident in going to publish it. At that point, that story goes to your editors. That story goes to other editors, to legal. And then your publisher reaches out to whoever is involved in that story and says, we are going to publish a story about this X, Y, and Z, about your company, your whatever. Would you like to comment? Those the letters and emails go out well in advance of publication. So for The Verge to say several attempts to get comment from Google were met with silence. Let's be very clear. For a multi-billion-dollar organization with a PR department
Right.
that rivals any and all,
Sure.
for them to be silent when given the opportunity to comment on something speaks volumes.
Yeah. No, they're definitely like Ryan Hansen points out, they're the Kleenex, the Q-tip, the Band-Aid of Google search, of internet search, right? Like they dominated. There used to be, Outlook for a minute. There was Outlook, there was AOL, there was Expedia, I believe.
How many times has Microsoft?
How many
tried to
different
reboot
search engines have we
Explorer?
used? Yahoo was a search engine. It
It
still
still
is. Nobody uses it, but it still is.
It still is, but nobody has. They literally
Ask
quite
Jeeves.
frankly-
Remember Ask
Oh,
Jeeves?
Jeeves. Oh, yo, Jeeves. Jesus.
Jeeves. Excite. Yes. Excite was
Jeez,
another one.
That's a throwback right there.
Yeah.
Is Google has a stranglehold on the things that we search on the internet. So when we put in best down comforter in our search to find the best down comforter, we might not be, and probably aren't, getting the most accurate results for our specific request.
Yeah, this is something that I can actually speak on pretty well because in my line of work, in the internet sales of car sales, we have dealt with Google and SEO from the very beginning, right? And now I'm almost 2 decades in the car business at this point, which is crazy to think about.
Exactly.
But SEO has always been part of something that has been in my consciousness, something that we have talked about.
What is,
and it is 100%.
I'm sorry. What is SEO? I'm sorry.
SEO is search engine optimization.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
very
and
much for
it
pointing.
is
Thank you.
basically how do you get to the top of Google searches, right? And it has been kind of a mystery that people have spent millions, if not billions, of dollars trying to figure out, and it ultimately comes down to pay to play. Google has leveraged their dominance to say, okay, we in the early days, It was just a matter of content. Was your content relevant? How relevant was your content? Did you have, were your links, all together? Or were there some broken links? Those things were what affected your SEO.
Okay.
But as they grew and became the dominant force, they understood their ability to sell advertising and pay per click advertising, which is
sell the metadata, probably,
right. And so so still to this day, right now, we pay for a service that when you type in, let's just say Mazdas, right, and you're anywhere near Lubbock, Texas, we are going to come up on that very top bar. That that when Google has that almost carousel,
that has a little side note of ad sponsored.
Correct. Okay. Those are 100% pay to play spots.
Got you. Okay.
And so you can't get in CarMax and Auto Trader, they dominate auto SEO because they have hundreds, millions of pages, right? So they dominate on that aspect. Plus they have huge budgets that allow them to pay to be in those spots, right? And so it is 100% a pay to play. The more money you spend with Google, the more you are going to show up in their searches. You thought there was a mystery. There really is no mystery. It's capitalism at its finest. They've realized they had a space that was valuable, and they are making you pay to be able to appear in that space. It's that simple.
Literally, Ben just summed up the rest of the article.
Okay. And I didn't even read it.
Which is perfect because that comes from personal experience. You have actual experience dealing with this. And I know Biz is in the chat zone, and I know he's a private business, small business owner too. So he's probably butted up against maybe the other side of that, right?
Yep.
For whatever reason.
Well, if you're selling goods the way that Biz is, hard goods like clothing and what's the right words, apparel, you're going to go up against you got to do business on some level with Amazon. They're inescapable. So Google and Amazon, if you're a small business in the United States and you are wanting to get your product out and noticed, you are going to have to pay large sums of money to both Google and Amazon, or else you have almost no chance of survival. It becomes so much harder. You have to really be savvy on social media and go viral, figure out a way to go viral outside of them. But otherwise, you have to go through those two big gatekeepers when it comes to getting your product and your brand out in front of consumers.
So speaking of that, before we move on to the next story here, because it kind of deals with that concentration of power that we were talking about, let's give a shout out to not only somebody who's in the world's most dangerous chat zone right now, but a personal friend of mine and a small business owner. If you're interested in some of the coolest Chicago apparel that has meaning and value, please go check out my good friend Biz's business. You can go to GetShysty.com. That is GET, Shy, CHISTEE.com. And I'm sure, hey, look, everybody, type it out and put it in the chat zone, because GetShysty.com. You can get yourself what I believe the man describes as legit, like Chicago street apparel. Not only the best hoodies ever, but man, like there it is in the chat zone from the man himself, a dear friend. This is quality stuff, folks. When I tell you that this is handmade, go check out their IG, go check out their media, because they're showing you that they're literally sewing the tags into their apparel by hand, right?
Love it.
I know, again, I'm going to pump up my friend Biz, but I know, like, every decision they make as far as what type of clothing and apparel, what type fabric, what type of cut of the fabric, the feel of the fabric, they exhaustively check out everything to make sure that what you're wearing is not only badass looking, but feels very comfortable and like almost like air, because the hoodies, phenomenal. The t-shirts, phenomenal. and he supports the octopus, which I'm going to leave you to investigate. You can go to getshisty.com. The explanation should be there. The explanation comes to you when you order some products. So check out my friend Biz's website. Please, if you haven't already, order something because, again, some of the highest quality stuff that represents the true heart of the city of Chicago. For all its warts, it's still honestly the greatest place in the world, and I can say that. And I don't know.
Love it.
I
Hustle
haven't
like
been
you have 8 limbs. I love that.
that is what it is, right? So we as Americans love to let all these mega corporations kind of get together and do their own hustle, right?
Yep, we sure
With
do.
the ultimate goal of just increasing profits.
Indeed.
Well, la di fucking da.
The monopolization of every important aspect of our lives is becoming more and more evident every day.
every day.
And these next 2 stories are tremendous evidence of that. I mean, the 2 things that we couldn't be more involved in on a daily basis
We're dependent on.
are dependent on these next 2 stories. So yeah, there you go.
A small little corporation called ConocoPhillips, which is in and of itself the merger of 2 ginormous conglomerates.
Right. This is like 2 behemoths coming together and saying, all right, we're just going to become one big behemoth. Like it's beyond comprehension, honestly.
They're going to buy Marathon Oil for a sweet $22.5 billion in the latest
Jesus.
energy merger. Ladies and gentlemen, I highly encourage you all to, not at this moment, but after the show, maybe get some food, relieve yourself in the washroom, but look up the story of Standard Oil. And what happened to an oil company that dominated the U.S. market? I also tell you to look up the story of Mother Bell, which was a telecommunications company that did the same thing and got broken up. We might be talking about the siblings of the Mother Bell breakup in a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is from our good friends at Reuters. Houston, May 29th. Reuters, hello. Top U.S. independent oil and gas producer. Top U.S. independent. Can we...
Yeah. Come on.
Independent of what? Government subsidies?
Definitely not.
Nope. Top U.S. independent oil and gas producer ConocoPhillips on Wednesday agreed to buy Marathon Oil for a sweet $22.5 billion, the latest in a series of mega deals in the energy industry. The U.S. oil and gas industry has been riding a consolidation wave over the last 2 years as companies look to bolster reserves and create economies of scale. Last year was one of the most active, as some $250 billion.
That
deals
is so
were
much
struck.
money. That is so much
That's
money.
so much money that it affects the GDP.
That's
right?
so much money. God.
It's unfathomable, that amount of money. But then again, we have billionaires racing that individually own almost as much as that. So the scale of that amount of money is like, you could literally not give a single fuck, not a one, about anything ever.
Right.
Like, you're untouchable. You're
Yeah.
above the conversation,
Yeah.
and it's not right.
No, it's
just
not.
right.
There's nothing
Disparity
right
is
about
not
this.
right. When the pretty lady and I went back to our old neighborhood over the weekend, did some shopping, and everything was great. Everything kind of looked the same. Some stores changed this, that, and the other, that kind of thing. The only noticeable difference were the amount of homeless people and clearly immigrants.
Interesting.
And here we are talking about
$250 billion being spent between two companies just so they could so the CEOs can get richer and the stockholders can get richer.
Comprehend this amount of money.
Yeah.
Never ever. And just a small fraction of this.
It's not a race war, it's a class war, ladies and gentlemen.
It's becoming a class war. That might become the focus of the second half of this show.
Yes.
Eventually is the looming class war. Anyway.
It doesn't stop there because the gas is pretty important. That's great, right?
Gas is pretty cool. We all kind of use it, whether you're hybrid, whether you're all that kind of fun stuff. But this all boils down to just a stock swap. Everybody making sure that their shares are protected, and it's not for the customer.
No, at all. This is for deal. CEOs and shareholders, 100%.
And again, the consolidation.
Or executives, I should say. Executives and shareholders.
And okay, that, right? And there's that aspect of it, right? The board, those CEOs answer to the board, and it's all about profits. It's all about numbers. It's all about growth, what markets we get into, all of those fun things. But at the same time, it's also about the consolidation of power, because those people sitting on the boards of these corporations are also sitting on the boards of the corporations that are being bought and being sold, and on all these others. So it's not like there's competition when these board members that are the bosses of the CEOs that tell the CEOs, like, this is what you need to do. This is your agenda.
Right.
They're not beholden to any allegiance to a corporation, a company, or a cause or anything, because they sit on sometimes several dozen.
They're beholden to the shareholders. That's who they're beholden to.
All it is increasing share price, profitability, and for whatever that's worth. Again, the AI invasion into healthcare is also happening at the same time as there's hedge fund and equity firms buying up healthcare systems at an alarming rate.
Look at Red Lobster. If you need any, look at Red Lobster on a number of food chains.
I thought it was the shrimp, Ben.
Yeah, it wasn't the endless shrimp. No. It was hedge funds buying the company because had the restaurant sat on valuable land that the company owned. They sold the land, left the stores on the land, sold the land, then leased the land back to the restaurants, driving them out of business, and stripped them of employees, and that's what they do. These hedge funds buy these.
Shrunk operational budgets based on profit margins.
It infuriates me, but here's what's happening. Hedge funds and the stock market maker and the traders, the big funds that trade on the stock market, they're playing a game together, right? They are recognizing companies that are going out of business, that are no longer relevant.
They're playing monopoly
in a lot of ways, right? And they identify these companies, and the stock market allows, we've talked about this before, that you could basically bet on the stock going down and make money when the stock price goes down, rather than just making money when the stock price goes up, which is what you would think that's the purpose of the game.
Which means they have a vested interest in that company losing money.
Bingo. They have, because what they're doing is they're borrowing shares, and they hope that the stock price goes to zero when the company goes bankrupt, because they don't have to then pay those stock loans back because the stock is worthless. Right. And they get together with these hedge funds, and they basically formulate a plan behind collude's the word, collude to buy these companies, purposefully go in and strip them down and purposefully tank the company so that everybody wins on the hedge fund side and the stock market side, and the company and the employees, they lose. That's the game that's being played in all these major restaurant chains, and now it's going into hospitals. It's all of it. It's housing. It's everywhere. Everywhere that's important is where these hedge funds are going into, and they're buying up all the stuff, purposely driving the prices up of the value up, while stripping out all of the things that make that it's
Prison
prisons.
system.
Prisons
Thank
is
you,
another
Gigi,
one.
thank you.
I mean, it is outrageous, ladies and gentlemen. This is continuing to happen, and it's a game that's happening in wide open. It's legal. It's okay, and there's nothing that anybody really can do to stop it. It's completely out of control and only going to make it worse. It's egregious. That's another way to put it.
It is egregious. We need a president like Teddy Roosevelt that came in. Again, it's the story of Standard Oil. It's happened before. There's precedent for this. We just have to go back and look at history. And we need a president with the political will, with the political vote behind him that says, that ain't right.
Unfortunately,
break up.
The Reagan Republicans have no interest in the government being involved in any sort of breakup of monopolies.
That's a whole separate show, and I'm not going to get started on that.
Right, because
don't get me started on the Reagan era. Ladies and gentlemen, just to back up that whole conversation, that the rich are getting richer, the more powerful are getting more powerful, and that our resources, our public resources, are being more often and more consolidated. T-Mobile is going to buy U.S. Cellular.
T-Mobile, who's already bought Nextel and Sprint and...
I mean, what was that Ryan Reynolds one too? I think they bought two.
Yep.
Cricket or whatever it was.
Cricket, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're going to buy U.S. Cellular for a sweet $4.4 billion. Unfortunate to White Sox fans, that has nothing to do with what used to be U.S. Cellular Field. But
right.
worth
buying. We're not going to delve too much into that, but there's another story of evidence of just this monopoly mindset.
Kind of in?
Yes. That's what it is, man. And don't even delve into food. You want to talk about monopolies? There's like 4 companies that own basically every food company on the planet. And if you really want to dig in further, you get into the Black Rocks of the world, and you understand that there's like 3 companies that own literally everything. And I'm not saying, when I say literally, I mean literally in a literal sense. BlackRock owns everything. They are they're a top 3 shareholder in basically every important stock on the planet.
We watched the Octopus Murders
documentary
based on your recommendation. And the first mention of Area 51 and Wackenhund, I was like, that Leo DiCaprio meme where he's like, and I was like, I stopped it. I'm like, because I wanted to show off that I knew what they were.
Right.
But I was like, this security company has so many shady ties to so many creepy, evil things, that, including the fact that they had the right and the authority to shoot people on sight, and they were not official members of the U.S. government or law enforcement at all. They were contractors. So these were the people outside of Area 51 where if you got too close and set off those ammonia sensors, they came in like stealth jeeps and shit with bright lights, blinded you, hog-tied you, and you got deposited 30 miles outside the Nevada desert somewhere where you didn't really want to be by yourself.
Yep.
I was like, yeah.
So
that's kind of
fascinating documentary, right?
Fascinating. Octopus Murders. Please check that out if you haven't.
I'm going to drop this one because I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to derail the show, but I'm going to drop this in there we'll talk about it. But there's a new one on Netflix called Power that talks about the basically law enforcement in the United States and how it started and how it's gotten to the point where it is now, where it's become kind of out of control, so to speak. It is tremendous. It's only only like an hour and a half long, I believe. It's not a multi-part documentary.
Okay. All right.
But it is tremendous. We'll loop back around because you want to talk about something that got my fucking blood boiling. That documentary got my blood boiling. Put a pin in that. We'll come back at a later date and talk about Power.
I'm in. Gigi's already there. It is. So
yeah, it's on the list. Once you watch it, we will talk about, because I that is one that I think you and I are going to have opposing views slightly on that. It radicalized me even more. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. All right. I'm in. We'll check it out. We're gonna hurry up. We're gonna cut that international segment out of the show.
Yes.
And we'll also inform you that that this particular infection that plagues this country goes all the way up to the Supreme Court. And if you were born here and you were raised here, you were told that there were three branches of government that were meant to keep each other in check, and that those three branches of government were the ivory pillars of this beautiful democracy, right? And here we have absolute 100% proof, evidence. Just one. We're only going to talk about one because it's not Clarence Thomas.
That one's the easy one to know that he should have
easy
recused himself.
right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is regarding Justice Samuel Alito, who has had recently a really interesting record of decisions and dissertations on the Supreme Court. One that also kind of basically falls in line with, I don't know, maybe a television show called The Handmaid's Tale. But
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know much about this Samuel Alito story. So you're gonna have to smarten me up here.
So this has ties to the January 6th attack upon the Capitol.
Okay.
All right. And I say attack upon the Capitol because that's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a deliberate, orchestrated attempt to disrupt the function of Congress to certify the elected president of the United States. That anybody who tells you anything different is lying to you and downplaying the importance of that day. That in our democracy, in our national history, 248 years of American democracy, this has happened every 4 years without fail, without conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reason behind the January 6th riots. When the president of the United States made arrangements to have the vice president hung,
Right.
where the Speaker of the House was terrified for their life and hid in undisclosed locations.
Brooks,
Literally-
no. That was where Antifa and the FBI got together and instigated the crowd into charging the Capitol. It is all the FBI's fault.
Visit, Ben. They were just.
It was
there on
FBI
a
and law enforcement. It could not possibly be that the FBI, there were FBI agents and law enforcement agents that maybe sympathized and agreed with the crowd there. It couldn't have been that. No. They were liberals that were there purposefully to instigate and make the MAGA crowd look foolish and egg them on into throwing shit at cops and pushing through gates and hitting them in the head with bear spray and hitting them in the head with, I believe, what was a fire extinguisher.
Yes, killed them.
Yeah, no big deal. Chasing cops down the hallways of Congress. That was all instigated by Antifa and the FBI. That had nothing to do.
They wanted to make sure that Joe
had nothing
Biden
to do with
wasn't
the speech
certified.
that the president gave just up the block there, where he said, we're gonna go and we're gonna go tell Congress how we feel. We're gonna go march down there and tell them how we feel. We're not gonna let them do this.
Nothing.
But he didn't instigate it.
Not at all.
No.
It gets worse, Ben. Because like I said, that
Does
rot
it?
has
Jesus.
extended. Multiples. Well, again, I've been sleeping. You've been sleeping. We've all been sleeping because we all been eating good at the hog, right? Like,
Sure.
Enjoying life, enjoying the finer things, whether we're struggling or not in life, but we haven't been paying attention to what's been going on like we probably should have been.
Probably not.
Washington, hello. Conservative Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito declined Wednesday to step aside from two pending cases relating to the former president's Donald Trump and the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol following a report that he flew continuous flags.
I think that's
on his
contentious.
private properties.
Contentious.
Contentious. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting to that point, folks.
Here we are, about 59 minutes in, baby. I called it.
All right. Yay, in letters written to members of Congress. No, I'm not going to do anything weird. In letters written to members of Congress calling for his recusal, Alito said the two incidents involving flags at his home in Virginia and a vacation property in New Jersey. First of all, Supreme Court judges, bless their hearts and their legal careers, should probably not have vacation homes. It's
Probably
a
not.
bad look.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you've dedicated your life to being a judge, I'm sure you were an attorney, prosecutor, defendant, whatever. Beforehand, you became a judge, you became a federal judge, and you moved on. But your salary shouldn't necessarily dictate a vacation home, especially not in an idyllic situation or a place, which it is.
Right. Yeah, no, and when I read this story, when he says that, they do not meet the conditions for recusal set out in the Supreme Court's newly adopted ethics code, it's weird to say this, but he's right, because we just talked about Clarence Thomas briefly. If anything should meet the conditions of recusal, it's Clarence Thomas and his involvement in this, and the fact that he hasn't recused himself. It does seem if Clarence Thomas isn't going to recuse himself, then Justice Alito shouldn't have to either, because flying flags is compared to what Clarence Thomas is involved in. Correct. Is literally nothing. I mean, literally nothing at all. So
I agree with you at that point. However, just the brazenness, of this, of flying a flag on multiple properties. So you're doing it on purpose. It's not like
no, it was his wife. Remember, it was his wife.
Oh, it's his wife. Right. Like that guy is like that guy who votes against women's rights, that guy who wants to go back to a very biblical version of how men should treat women, that guy says, you can fly whatever flag you want, honey.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's not the type of guy that would absolutely demand of knowing
stupid. I'm sorry, but not sorry. You are fucking stupid if you think that guy allows his wife any measure of space in what she does or expresses about her personal beliefs.
Zero chance.
Also, let's not let her off the hook, because she is certainly signed on for this life and has enjoyed lifestyle so far because she gave in and sacrificed the spirit of the moment for this fucking piece of rotten testicles.
Yes, dude. The Supreme Court in this country is corrupted. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the millions of people that sat out the 2016 election and allowed Donald Trump to become president. This is what we get.
But this is going back and even further.
I know we've mapped it out.
Reagan thing, right?
But
like this goes back to Nixon.
Sure.
Where he failed, and they were like, we got Reagan? Okay, fine. And this goes into a very weird skew of American politics that, unfortunately, our untrained eyes aren't necessarily affixed to, right? We can't see the long game because we're constantly being shown what's on our phones, what's on the internet. And before that, it was the news, it was radio, it was constant. When cable came in, you started seeing all the media influx and onslaught of information became a lot. So if you weren't attuned to that and you didn't particularly give a shit, you were easily tuned out.
Yeah.
by things and almost desensitized to certain situations because they kept happening. You kept hearing about it. So you're like, all right, well,
No,
that
we
shit's
know
going on in
a
Darfur.
lot of
That
people
shit's
that are
going on
like
in-
that. When it comes to American politics, we know a number of people that are just plain exhausted by it. So they just throw their hands up and say, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to worry about my life, my circle of influence. You know, whatever happens, happens. It ain't my fucking problem. It doesn't affect my life directly. And they're just sick of it and throwing their hands up. That's probably the largest segment of Americans, to be perfectly fucking honest with you.
I would counter that with saying that there's a large segment of uninformed people who may have voted for the first time in 2016.
Sure.
Who didn't give a shit about politics up until that point.
I think there's a lot there. Yep.
That didn't get the nuance of it. That didn't have the historical background of the situation. Mm-hmm. That, pardon my crudeness, Ben, but I think you'll agree with my assessment and analogy that it was much like a pro wrestling event. Mm-hmm. People went for whoever could cut the best promo.
Sure.
And here comes the conest of the con men coming.
Right. One of the best promos in the business.
One of the best. And sold a lot of people that were disfranchised about
And continues to.
Continue to be. But somehow think that he's the cure. The fact that that guy was allowed to infiltrate and infect our politics as he is actually an indictment on us too, because we weren't informed enough. But again, in our defense, we've been under attack, whether you like to acknowledge it or not, with information via social media for well over a decade. And you can thank the Chinese, you can thank the Russians, the North Koreans, the Iranians, and a couple others.
In our own, and our people in our own backyard,
in
right?
our own backyard.
Yeah.
But with all of the conspiracy, the biggest conspiracy is that there is a group of people trying to control things, that there is a group of people trying to force us back into the dark ages of our laws and politics and our religions.
They're just not secretive about it. They're out in the open.
They're the ones telling you that the other people are the bad guys.
Right.
Right? That's all you need to know. If you're accusing somebody of doing terrible things, you're probably doing it yourself. Because the first thing they tell you in Nazi Germany, in Goebbels Class 101, is to deflect and accuse the person, your opponent, of what you're guilty of.
Yes, it's called projection. You're projecting an image that is really your own image. You project that onto someone else as if that isn't who you really are.
And you tell it that lie over and over and over.
I read an article this last week. I posted a snippet out of it, and this gentleman had a great quote where he said, if you tell a lie enough to uninformed people, they'll believe it.
Trump loves
and they're not informed enough to know that they're being lied to.
Trump was telling them, I love the uneducated. Why, Ben?
Because they don't know any better, and they'll believe anything he says.
Because they're sold by the comment. So we've already stretched into that over an hour thing.
Yeah, we did. That was expected with 3 weeks off. We had a lot to talk about.
And I think it was a good, healthy discussion about a lot of things, and an important discussion and about important decision that is coming up in November, right? Mm-hmm. It's not about like
I'm still here to tell you as of right now, what is today? May what?
29th.
May 29th. I know it's still early, but man, I am still convinced Donald Trump is winning this next election, bud. I'm going to have to see something majorly change in the next 6 months, but I don't see what it is, man. I don't know.
Don't trust the polls. Don't trust what media is displaying and forcing out, because every time you see Joe do something and say something and give a speech, and you can put it side by side with something with Trump, there's no question and there's no comparison. I get the media bias, because what is the media? They're looking for clicks, they're looking for hits, they're looking for viewership. So they're going to show the carnival barker, right? That's the guy who represents normal, whatever normal is.
But I think you're underestimating.
We can all agree that normal right now is fucked up and needs to be fixed. However, we literally going to have a choice between, okay, we can buy some time by voting for this guy who's going to keep things the way things are, normal, the way we, our lives.
Normal, right, yeah.
Right? Or we can vote for this guy who you can clearly go to Project 2025 and see what they're going to do. They've already laid out in front of you in very plain English and in very plain language what they intend to do to not only our civil rights, but gender rights and just treatment of people in this country, period. They've laid it out. It's there.
I know.
They're telling you. This dude has told you.
I
I'm
know.
going to be dictator on day one.
I get it.
I think that there's a lot of reservation in the Democratic Party as far as advertising, campaigning, knowing that it's just May.
I get that, but the margins were so slim last time, right? It really was all because of this dumb electoral college that we have, and it's not a popular vote.
No.
It was so close last time.
They had fake electors too, by the way.
If there is a large enough segment of people that got out and voted for Biden last time that are unwilling to get out and vote again for him because they don't, there is a larger segment of Democrats that are just like, I want a better option. Give me something better than Joe Biden again. And they're not getting it. And I wonder, and then you throw in the Muslims, whether or not they're going to come out and support him. You know, African Americans and Hispanics. I know you say don't trust the polls, but the polling numbers that are at least out there are at least indicating that those two groups, Trump is making headway in those two groups. If it doesn't, the amount that Trump has to get or keep out of the process, right, by having them just stay home, it paints a path that seems very, very easy for Donald, because his people are going to vote. There is nothing that will stop a Trump voter from getting out and voting for him. There's nothing he could say. There's nothing he could do. There's no court that could find him guilty of something that is going to stop these people from getting out and voting for him. Absolutely 100%. They are 100% motivated to get out there and vote for him.
Ride or die.
Exactly. I don't believe Biden has that same that same coalition behind him at the same size as the Trump supporters do. I don't see it. I don't feel it. And maybe it's because I'm in the middle of Trump country and it's skewed in that sense. But you look at, when I talk to people on the street that are to say they vote Democrat, there's a lot of people that are just like, I can't get behind Biden. I just can't. I want a better option. I need a better option. I don't like the way he's handling Israel in that situation.
And of course that's and we left out a couple stories. We left out actually the entire international segment,
right?
Show, based on domestic affairs, and that's fun. It's cool, and it is going to come down to the discussion of policies and international relations and such. However, I think honestly it will come down to people just venting.
Maybe
right now.
I hope
coming to their senses when it comes to November and going, because it's whether you like the choice or not, right? And we can agree, like we need a better choice than Biden. We need.
Right.
You and I are both progressive. You will probably, and I think you would admit, a little more progressive than I.
Sure.
But I think we can definitely agree that we need a more progressive Democratic option.
Younger.
Absolutely agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
no, I feel you, and I just feel like there's going to be people that are going to feel like they can just grit their teeth through another 4 years of Trump and not understanding that how much damage could truly be done this time around. Like, the pandemic threw a monkey wrench in what Donald Trump really wanted to accomplish the first time around, right? It derailed a lot of what him and his cronies had planned. His goons. And surely, if they win this time around, they're going to waste no time. They are going to accomplish as much as they possibly can, because in American politics, it is far easier to get something on the books than it is to get it taken back off of the books. So once they get it in, it is nearly fucking impossible to get that shit reversed.
I mean, we're going to see it in commercials and campaign advertisements, and I'm sure in debates it's going to be brought up, but he's on camera saying he's going to be a dictator on day one. I mean, honestly,
he wants immunity. What is he going to do with it?
That means,
yeah.
What do you think that means?
He's literally arguing to the Supreme Court that he should have immunity, right?
As a former president.
Right. So if he gets that, right, if he gets that sign off from the corrupted Supreme Court, when he becomes president, what the fuck do you think he's going to do with that power? What do you think a Donald Trump is going to do? What do you think a Donald Trump and his ego is going to do, knowing that he cannot be stopped? Literally cannot be held accountable for his actions.
I can't. Holy
shit.
I'll tell you what everybody's probably going to do. They're going to clamor for my dad's favorite segment on the show, the lightning round. Hey, it is the lightning round, and if you're just joining us, like Bobby Suzuki for the first time in a long time, let me just quickly go over the rules of the segment and introduce you to the full might of the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome. Folks, this is the lightning round, and what I'm going to do is read you 3 headlines. And you, the people, are going to decide what story we discuss. It's kind of that simple.
It really is. Democracy at its finest.
It's also very complicated, like democracy is. It's a mess, as it should be.
True.
So, without any further dilly or dally, ladies and gentlemen, headline number 1. North Korea flies 260 feces-filled balloons across the border to the south.
Well, it's been a long time since we've had a shit story.
I almost had a shitty
a theme
quip
of shit
about
story?
it. Yeah. Oh. But there are some people on here in the chat zone that are sensitive to the poop.
Oh, wow.
Headline number 2.
Sorry, I like shit stories. They're funny.
Catholic organization defrocks AI priest Father Justin after it okays baptizing a baby in Gatorade.
An AI priest, that's great.
And headline number 3. Family stricken with rare brain worms after eating undercooked bear.
Oh man!
So again, folks, we're gonna be looking for your votes in the world's most dangerous chat zone. But while you're sitting there considering it, and before I read them again, let's just take a second and go and like whatever social media apparatus you're watching the show on.
Like and share.
Share it if you can. Subscribe if you can, because that all helps. To be honest, there's been a little bit of growth in the likes and our outreach.
Good.
So
choose the bear every time. Yes.
Always. You're just not going to go wrong with the bear.
Yes.
Right? So, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a democracy in action. You are going to vote, and I'm going to read you your candidates one more time. Here we go. North Korea flies 260 feces-filled balloons across the border to the south. Speaking of number 2.
That's so great.
Headline number 2.
It's not going to win, but because I know our crowd. But goddamn, that's a great story. I'm gonna go find that story myself. So
any display of national pettiness like that?
That is a level of petty. Seriously, come on.
Appreciate that.
260 shit-filled balloons. We're just gonna fly them over the board, and then whatever happens, it's like like the old bit on The Simpsons where I'm just gonna move my arms like this, and if you happen to run into it, it's just your fault.
You got punched. It's also like a ripe idea to do a remix of 99 Red Balloons.
Yes.
260 shit balloons. Anyway, headline number 2. Catholic organization defrocks AI priest Father Justin after it okays baptizing a baby in Gatorade. I just want to know what flavor.
Right. It's probably yellow.
It's
lemon lime Gatorade. Fuck that shit.
Headline number 3. Family stricken with rare brain worms after eating undercooked bear.
Oh,
all your fault.
Yeah.
All your fault.
That is 100% your own fault, yes.
Give me that bear rare. Give me
Yeah,
rare bear.
I just like it kissed on each side. Like what?
That's a rough me up album.
Just a little
rare bear.
Rare bear.
As Ma Jordan votes, we're kind of in a dead.
Wow, it's spread 3 votes in. It's 99 brown balloons.
There it is. See, leave it to Ryan Hansen.
We have votes across the board at this point,
but not enough.
No.
Not enough for the people that are voting. Not enough for the people that are watching. We need more people to suggest what story they want to hear. I know everybody's got their lives. They're going out. It's dinner time, all that kind of fun stuff.
Sure.
But right now, we currently have all of 3 votes.
We got to break the tie at least.
It's a tie between 3 votes. Ryan Hansen remix.
Yeah.
Shit from above. Holy water sucks. Hello, holy Gatorade. And
all right,
unbearable brain worms.
Number one. We got 2 more votes for number 1. All right. Yes, the shit balloons. Yes.
That number 1 is running away with it.
Ha ha! I see what you did there.
Thank you very much. And you know what? I'm just gonna call it.
Yeah, fuck it. I win. I win this week.
Number one wins. You filthy animals. This is you know what? Ben, here, let me. Copy
send it my way. Did they have pictures of the shit balloons? Because that's even better.
There are actually.
Yes. See, I knew this one was going to be a
story
hit.
to win. Again, folks, if you're you like the show, just go ahead and like us. That helps a ton.
Oh, that's great.
But you voted. We listened. That's democracy. You don't fight against democracy. You don't send an angry, bloodthirsty mob to fight against it. Because you wouldn't hear this story. Headline number 1 wins. North Korea.
How do you fill a shit balloon? I hope that this story answers that.
260 feces-filled balloons across the border to South Korea. South Korea's military confirmed on Wednesday that North Korea had sent over more than 260 balloons carrying feces and trash to the south on Tuesday night, marking the largest ever daily balloon launch from the north. Military and police personnel are currently collecting balloons that have landed in South Korean territory with packages containing excrement and trash attached to them.
Yes, so petty.
Authorities said timers and explosives were attached to strings connected to balloons in the trash-filled packages in order to make the balloons burst after a certain amount of time passed.
They put so much effort into this. It's so great.
They're also checking whether propaganda leaflets were among the contents. Hey, we just exploded a bunch of shit over your house. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why you must believe in our gods. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. Look at these. Look at this balloon.
Cough button liberally used.
For some
balloons were still airborne on Wednesday morning. Fallen balloons traveled far and were found in South Korea's capital Seoul and provinces that I won't pronounce. On Tuesday, whether I tried or not, I won't pronounce them. On Tuesday evening, South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff announced that the military was responding to unidentified objects appearing in border areas and which seemingly carry North Korean propaganda material. JCS condemned North Korea's balloon launch, saying it quote, violated the international law and seriously threatened the safety of Korean people, end quote. It also sternly advised North Korea to immediately cease inhumane and tacky actions. Again, international relations is what we're dealing with here, folks. Military personnel specializing in handling biological, chemical, radiological agents and explosives are collecting the balloons on the ground. Thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a trip. It's been a minute. We appreciate the time off, but we also appreciate the conversation, which we like to do every Wednesday, barring the NBA consuming my life or rapid illness. You've been here. You've always been here. Thank you so much. You guys are the lifeblood of the show, the world's most dangerous chat zone. My name is Brooks, that handsome gentleman. Grateful for your patronage. Tell your friends, tell your folks, tell your people. That's what we do. Go get some gear from GetSheisty.com.